into another episode of Sports Zone. And unlike the Game of Thrones Season 8 premiere, this will not be 50 minutes of table setting. We're jumping right into the plot. Joining me here at the monitor is Shaji Adam. Now, last night the Warriors blew another 3-1 lead. That's 31 points, that is. You add insult to injury with DeMarcus Cousins leaving the game with a torn left quad. Now, Shaji, series tied at 1. No DeMarcus Cousins. Are the Warriors actually in trouble?
No, I know people after the game really thought that, oh my God, like they actually have a chance. No, don't get me wrong. The Clippers are a team that are very dangerous because this team has nothing to lose. Nobody expected them. I think ESPN, I think Doc Rivers said that they only expected to win 33 games, but the fact that they've come this far is really spectacular. And you can see what their game plan is just to stop KD and let everybody else beat them. If they can stop one player, I think that's the only way you can beat the Warriors. Great team effort, but I actually think I actually think they'll play better without him because statistically they're better without Boogie on the court. So with Bogut, they still have a big center. I think the Warriors will be just fine.
And it's not like they're lacking players. You still have KD, you still have Steph, you still have Clay. It's more shots for those guys. KD last night only took 8 shots, only won 3. So maybe you can get him more involved. But yeah, I agree with you. I think this is just kind of overblowing. Lou Williams was amazing last night. It's a great one for the Clippers. Do you see this going to 6 or 7, or is this still something like a 5-game series?
If they're motivated next game, I think if the Warriors are truly motivated, they will absolutely just wipe the floor with them. But if the Clippers continue to play like this, if they continue to frustrate KD, I think they can win one more game in LA.
It seems like it'll pretty much come down to are the Warriors disciplined enough to want to play defense that night. I just think there's still too many stars. All right, let's move on now. Another top seed went down this weekend. It was the San Antonio Spurs beating the Nuggets. I got a lot of hate saying the Spurs can't win. It was a 101-96 win for the Spurs. Derek White with the amazing defensive stop at the end of the game. 16 points for him, 7 of 10. I'm going to ask you real quick. I know you want me to talk more on this one, but what did you see in the Spurs-Nuggets game? I
mean, Derek White, he's one of the best on-ball defenders. I actually think out of the entire playoffs, he's the second best on-ball defender. I think Patrick Beverley is just a little bit of number one, just a little bit ahead. But, man, he is something special for the Spurs team. I don't know how Greg Popovich is finding these gems of players left and right. He goes, that steal at the end to end the game. But really, to me, I think this was more about Denver. I think Denver had control of this game in the last minute 30, but it was turnover, offensive foul, and the game ended on a turnover. It was very anticlimactic. If the Nuggets are motivated, they need to use Jokic more. Jokic only took 9 shots, about 9 to 11 shots. They need to use Joker more. I think they'll be able to win this game. I still think Denver will win. I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt. I think they can take this to 6. I think the Spurs can take it to 6 games.
I would agree with you. Yeah, I'm going against my Spurs here, but I think you look at Denver, the starter shot, 3 of 22, just 13.6% in this game. If you knock a couple more threes down, DeMar, he didn't shoot as well, but I don't really see him getting better. He's not known to be a great guy in the playoffs. LaMarcus might go off one game, but I still think Jokic down low is too big of a matchup problem. So I'm going against my Spurs here. I still think I'd give the Nuggets 6 or 7. I just think once they start hitting some threes, it might be tough. But now we're going to go to a team you're a little sensitive about, the Oklahoma City Thunder. It was a 104-99 loss to the Trail Blazers. Are the Thunder okay in this series?
I think they are. I was very disappointed in the way they played because the only people that wanted to play were Russell Westbrook and Steven Adams. I know Paul George has had an aggravated shoulder since post-All-Star break, and he even said in an interview that 4 days ago before the game, he couldn't even lift his shoulder. So the fact that he still played there and had 20-plus points, but he shot 36% from the field, you can't have that. And Damian Lillard, he looked like he was motivated shooting from the logo. And you can't defend that. I mean, Russ was defending the 3 well, but when he shoots from the logo, you're not really going to do anything. But I still think the Thunder can win this game. If they can win this next game tonight and they go to Oklahoma City, I think they're in tip-top shape.
I agree with you. Kanter's not putting up 20 points and 18 rebounds. It's not happening again.
Yeah, why didn't he do this when he was with the Thunder? I don't get it.
It's not going to happen. I think McCollum, Lillard are about the same. We're the opposite of hot takes. We're just game 1, chill out. It's just it was game 2 for the Warriors, but I feel like we're not giving the hot takes that a sports show needs. Let's do one hot take. Are the Raptors in trouble? Magic, DJ Augustine, the big-time 3 to go up 1-0. Kawhi, I was happy he lost. But do you see the Magic winning this series?
I think the Raptors are in trouble. 100%.
There we go, hot take.
The Drake curse is in full effect right now. And look, I know people said that with LeBron not there, they'll finally be able to break this Raptors curse. I think they're the 3rd best team in the East when everybody's on their game. But just for some reason, when the playoffs start, all that wants to play is Kawhi. But even Kawhi, he had a great first half. He started off 5 for 5 in field goals. But in the second half, he completely disappeared. Same thing with Kyle Lowry. I mean, Kyle Lowry wasn't even there in the game. I mean, I had as many points as him. He had 0 points in a game. DJ Augustine played out of his mind. I mean, you can see the post-game interview. He was so emotional, just all that frustration built up. I think the Magic will take them. I'm not saying the Magic will win, but the Raptors will not make it probably past the second round.
I just can't get over the Raptors coach. He just looks flabbergasted every time they show him on ESPN. His suit's like crooked. His hair is messed up.
Because every year you feel they're supposed to win, and then they completely just underperform, and it's upsetting.
I think the Raptors will still get to the conference finals. Really quick, not a lot of time to debate on this one. Nets Sixers, it's tied at 1-1. Nets stole it game one. Last night, Sixers went off, scored 145. Who do you have winning that series?
The best team always wins, in my opinion, and I feel that the 76ers are overall a better team. I'm taking Joel Embiid and the 76ers.
All right, well, this has been Sports Zone. Stay calm if your team lost the first playoff game. Don't worry. You know who else needs to stay calm? Dallas Stars fans. Down 2-1 in the series. Can they come back? We'll tell you next on Sports Zone.
Oh, emojis. I thought the conversation just got dumber.
Ugh, internet trolls, just ignore them.
I like you just the way you are.
I believe in you. She's a hugger. Give her a squeeze. How about the hand? Ah, there you go.
Thanks, mate.
You're killing it, Jane!
Hi. Hoping for a crisp breeze to help keep you alert. Oh, he took a sip of water too. That'll probably help. You were probably gonna turn down the radio too, so you could focus, right?
Probably okay isn't okay.
Right?
If you see a warning sign, stop and call a cab, a car, or a friend.
I think the water line is what really drove it home. I blew on him.
Listen, I realize that I'm not perfect, but it all really started to change because you judge me for having a problem. No one is going to know that I need help. I need help. I know that no one is going to judge me for having a problem. I realize that I'm not perfect, but it all really started to change because you listen.
So there you are, shuffling through a stack of resumes and you come to mine. This is it, first impression, my way in. But can my resume show you how I truly stand out? Like that I was studying, going to night school while working 2 jobs just to help my parents pay for groceries. Or being the first one to always step up. No, that's something you just can't put on paper. Look beyond the resume and discover new ways to develop great talent that is dedicated, hardworking, and determined like me.
Nashville got the better of the Dallas Stars last night, scoring a late third period goal to take a 2-1 series lead in the first round matchup. Here to recap last night's game and preview the rest of the series is Josh Skinner and Jack Buckmeyer. Guys?
Unfortunately, last week you might not have seen most of the NHL playoffs. You know, you had the Masters, Tiger win, you had the NBA playoffs, you had the MLB. But, you know, definitely the Stars did, unfortunately, come out and they started playing. They took game 1, lost game 2 and game 3. What did you think about game 1?
Well, game 1, I think that Dallas was outplayed for that first period, and then they controlled it for the rest of the game. I think that they deserved to win the game. They won 3-2. I think it surprised Nashville a little bit. I think that it's hard when you're a professional athlete not to read the press clippings. Everyone picked Nashville. Everyone thought Nashville, you know, can they win the cup this year? And so they came out and they had that hot start that you get playing with the home crowd at the beginning of the game. And then Dallas's defense kind of constricted them, took over. Dallas got a few goals, maybe a couple of soft goals, and then they took control of that game, and all of a sudden they're up in the series 1-0.
Yeah, exactly. As you were saying, they definitely didn't start out the strongest, but, you know, they were coming off of the regular season. They were doing pretty well at the end there. They were won, you know, 5 of their last however games, 7 or 8 games. And, you know, you had Miro Heiskanen. I sometimes mess up his name. I don't understand it. But, you know, he had a goal, he had an assist. You know, he did have 2 in the game. They eventually gave it to Alexander Radulov. You know, if he had the 2 goals in that game, it would have been the greatest start for a defensive player in NHL history. So, you know, that was definitely an improvement. You had Matt Zaccarello scoring. As I said, Radulov scored. And then Bishop had 30 saves. It was definitely a game, as you said, they came out and they definitely surprised Nashville. Nashville, you know, was riding off their success of last year, success in the regular season. Nobody really thought, but eventually, you know, it was kind of the Stars came in as the new guys. You know, you had a first-year coach in Jim Montgomery. He's definitely hasn't been there. You know, eventually nerves kind of settled down, and then, as you said, they came out in the second and third period and definitely took over. And then in game 2, it was almost as if it was like a total flip the switch for Nashville.
Yeah, absolutely. And this kind of thing happens. Nashville had to win game 2. It was much more important for them than Dallas. They can't come back to Dallas down 2-0. Teams that are down 2-0 lose something like 85, 86% of the time. So they desperately needed that game, and they outplayed Dallas through that game. But one of the great things about hockey as opposed to other sports is you can be drastically outplayed and still win, as we're going to talk about with game 3.
Exactly.
But Dallas was very much outplayed and was in that game, took it to overtime. Unfortunately fell short, but they probably didn't deserve to win it anyway. But if you're Dallas, you split in Nashville, which is traditionally a hard place to win. You come back, you feel good about your chances at home.
Yeah, Nashville, they definitely came out with a different sort of intensity. You know, you only had Jamie Benn scoring in that game. But then, you know, they get outshot by 20 shots, 43-23. They were 0-6 in advantages. They definitely didn't take advantage of the power play minutes that they had. You know, Bishop is really the only reason they were still in the game. He did allow 2 goals, but, you know, he saved 42. So, and then all of a sudden, Biz Marquis starts playing in the overtime game. Apparently, Biz Marquis is the reason Nashville wins game 2. Their fans started singing it. It was weird. I didn't understand what was going on. But, you know, Nashville comes out in overtime. They come in and they take the series 1-1, and now it heads to Dallas in game 3. And then, you know, it wasn't not necessarily a game 3 must win for the Stars, but as you and I saw yesterday, you were actually at the game, so, you know, I kind of want to hear a little bit of your...
Right. I was covering the game for North Texas, a media outlet for North Texas, and we set up in the press box. Everything was the most crowded I've ever seen the press box for a Stars game at the AAC. The crowd was going insane. It's the loudest I've heard the building in years and years, probably since the Mavs championship run. And it was an amazing game. Dallas didn't get that. I thought that Dallas would have that hard start that Nashville did in game 1. You have that home crowd in the first 10 minutes. But Nashville really controlled the first half of the first period, and then Dallas took over, and it kind of looked like the second half of game 1. Dallas just controlled it. Dallas wound up almost doubling up Nashville in shots. The difference in this game was goaltending, and Ben Bishop had not given up more than 2 goals in a game since early March. He'd been great, and he gave up 2 very soft goals that you probably wouldn't see being given up by a high school goaltender. I'm only slightly kidding there as they both slid through. They were just kind of flings at the net. You know what? It's going to happen. And Bishop carried this team. Jim Montgomery said after the game to us, he said, you know, Bishop's been carrying this team for so long. It's time for the players to carry him through a game because he can't do it all the time. The team's going to have to find ways to score if they're going to win. But he also said if the Stars continue playing like they did in game 3, he's not worried because they're going to win the series.
Exactly. I mean, it almost seemed as if the CEO's words of ripping Ben and Sagan, it almost seemed as it's been true so far, especially in Game 3. You know, Bishop has, as you said, put the team on his back, but then he goes out, doesn't have the best of games in his career. You know, he only had a 89% save rate in the game. But then, you know, as you said, that was a flip the hat, random goals, especially on the power, not the power play, when they won the turnover and then
the breakaway.
Made no sense to me. I was just watching as a fan. I'm not the most in tune with hockey, but even I'm watching, I didn't understand what was going on. And, you know, definitely.
And over a series, those kind of things tend to balance out. You're going to get some bounces, you're going to lose some bounces. And so I feel like Dallas, even though they've outplayed Nashville in 2 of the 3 games, they've kind of lost out on a couple of the bounces in this series.
I think, and it's a little the experience. Dallas doesn't have the experience that Nashville has, but, you know, eventually it's still a 2-2, 1-1-1, so Dallas has at least 2 more games, hopefully, at the AAC. But, you know, that's all we really have about the Stars game. Josh, back to you.
Well, thanks, guys. Dallas looks to even the series tomorrow night in Game 4. Stay tuned. Because next, Dak Prescott, does he deserve a major deal like the one Russell Wilson just got? We'll tell you next on Sports Zone.
Okay, so we drowned the fire, stirred it, drowned it again, and now just feel if it's cold.
Yeah.
Cool.
Smokey just gave me a bear hug.
I know. I already posted it.
This is the moment I knew his future had no boundaries.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org.
Hey, look, it's those guys. Are you good to drive?
I'm fine.
How many did you have?
I should be fine.
You should be.
Go and step out of the vehicle for me.
See ya, buddy. Good luck.
So turns out, buzz driving and drunk driving, they're the same thing, and it costs around $10,000. So not worth it.
I'm a retired school psychologist, and helping people was my thing. After my stroke, when Meals on Wheels started, I was on the other end of the stick, so to speak, and I appreciated it very much, the attention that was given. My name is Julius Gaines, creative writer, poet, photographer. America, let's do lunch.
Drop off a hot meal and say hello. Volunteer by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
Well, Dak Prescott enters the final season of his rookie contract, and the debate on whether to pay Dak or not is in full bloom this spring. Stephen Jones recently told ESPN Radio 103.3 FM that Dak's deal must be team-friendly. Now, Dak has not explicitly stated how he feels either way, but there has been hints that he would enjoy a very nice payday. Now joining me here at the desk, I think we all would enjoy a very nice payday as well. Unfortunately, student TV hosting doesn't pay. But joining me here at the desk is Brittany Johnson, Kyle Harris, and Blake Elliott. Now, guys, we saw the Russell Wilson major deal last night. He's the highest paid quarterback. I don't think any of us up here would say Dak is even close to Russell Wilson. But Dak wants the money. Should Dak get the money?
I don't think Dak should get the same money as Russell. Me personally, I just think because, okay, Russell has already been in the game. You have to understand that. Russell has championships, especially the championship versus Broncos. So I just feel like he's the more experienced, and I feel like, yes, he deserves that. Dak, I know you've brought the Cowboys a long way. You definitely helped them improve and not sink into a dark hole. But I don't think now that's what you need. I feel like he shouldn't be getting paid anything over $100 million.
Okay. Kyle, what do you think?
Yeah, I think Dak's great, honestly. I wouldn't go as far to say, well, definitely I agree with Brittany. I don't think he deserves Russell Wilson money, but let's not forget here, he's going into his fourth season, and what we see with Carson Wentz right now, I mean, this guy is durable. Dak has played every single game for the Cowboys since he's been there, and he had a great first year, great first rookie year, had a QB rating of over 100. Second year kind of had a little slump, threw a couple more interceptions. And then this third year, he kind of evened out to probably what he's going to be for the future. And I think that's going to be a great quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys. And I think my number, I know Blake's going to have a number he's about to spread out there, but my number would be I'd give him $180 million 6 years. I think $30 million a year would be a good deal right now as an NFL
so you're
quarterback.
in favor of keeping Dak, paying him?
Yes.
Just there's nothing else on the market, or?
I think Dak's the guy. I mean, the Cowboys they took a late round guy from Mississippi State, and I think they made him into arguably one of the best young quarterbacks in the league right now. And I think that deserves to get paid. I think he deserves to get paid, yes.
So I'm going to agree with Kyle and disagree with both of y'all. Dak is on that level.
I haven't given an opinion yet.
Dak is on that level of Russell Wilson. I don't know if y'all saw the last playoff game, but he completely outplayed him. And players are getting paid on what they're doing now, not what they did in the past. As you see, Dak is 5 years younger than Russell. So I think personally he should get like $150 million over 60 years, with $100 million of that being guaranteed. Go get you some money. You got guys like Kirk Cousins making $84 million guaranteed, Stafford making $92 million guaranteed. So I feel like he falls right above those guys like Stafford and Kirk and just right below Russell.
So you guys all in favor of paying Dak?
Yes.
I'm all in favor of paying Dak. I think they have their quarterback. Like I said, the durability factor is a big thing for me, and I think the fact that he is so durable and the fact that he's always been there as the Cowboys quarterback for these, I mean, it's been 48 games so far that he's played for them as a starting QB. I think you should pay durability, especially with nowadays how we have some quarterbacks sitting out because of injuries and stuff. Dak's always there. I think he deserves to get paid.
Who else are they going to get? They don't have a first-round draft pick. It's not like there's a lot of guys on the free agent market that they're going to get Tim Tebow. There's not much they have to look back on. So
I believe the two of you. I know he's a Texans fan, so I think he may have some motives outside of this. Now let's keep going with this Dak, because there has been people, Stephen Jones saying he should take a team-friendly deal. Obviously, we've heard you guys talk. You're in favor of the player getting the money. But is there any part, maybe like Tom Brady takes a pay cut? Now, he does have Giselle, who makes a whole lot of money, but he takes a pay cut. He helps his team bring in new guys. Do you think there's any sort of Dak should say, I'm going to take a pay cut for the Dallas Cowboys?
Brady also has Belichick. Let's not forget about that.
I think he can take pay
Belichick's
cuts.
not paying his bills, though, personally.
You can take pay cuts when you know you're going to the Super Bowl year after year. You don't have to really worry about stuff like that. He's already got his money. He's got his mansions, his cars. He's all set, so he can take a pay cut later in his career. Dak is making around like $700,000 a year right now, so he doesn't have room. He's not financially stable right now. So right now, go get your money, get your stuff paid for, and then when we're going to championships year after year, you got your money. Take pay cuts for the team to be team friendly.
Yeah, I agree. The pay cut, not now. Just get him the money, whatever he needs. Now, I can say, for me, I feel like Dak is around that B player type of player, but I agree with what they're saying. I mean, they do make some valid points. So, and the Cowboys have more than enough room to, make these deals. Some may argue, does he deserve it? But like they said, he has brought Cowboys a long way. And, it's durability. And, if you deserve that, then, hey, it can be argued. But just get him his money, help him to continue to rise, and then maybe along the years, we'll see where it grows. So
You guys have a lot of love for Dak. There's not a lot of good quarterbacks out there. If you saw the AAF, Garrett Gilbert was the MVP. His quarterback, a very tough figure. But speaking of beloved Dallas sports figures, Dirk Nowitzki officially played his final basketball game. Now, who had the better retirement, though? Dirk or D. Wade? We'll tell you next on Sports Zone.
Dirk.
Patriotism. It inspires passionate debate. It's worn like a badge of honor with good reason. Because it means love and devotion for one's country. But what really makes up this country of ours? It's the people. To love America is to love all Americans. This year, patriotism shouldn't just be about pride of country. It should be about love. Love beyond age, sexuality, disability, race, religion, and other labels. Because love has no labels.
Start a story. Adopt at theshelterpetproject.org.
It's fine that other people like you. It's more important that you like yourself. And I'm comfortable with every part of me. Meals on Wheels coming to my door as someone who's housebound assures me that I'm not forgotten. They care that I'm okay. My name is Asha Ida Bell, America. Let's do lunch.
Drop off a hot meal and say hello. Volunteer by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
Here we go. We're going to go out there in the rain. You're going to get wet. All right, here we go. Okay, quick. Oh, yeah. Yes. So much fun. Mwah. We're getting so wet.
Well, two future Hall of Famers' careers came to an end this past week as the NBA said goodbye to Dirk and Dwayne Wade on the same night. Now, both had illustrious careers. Joining me here at the desk is Van Malone, Bront Hermesmeyer, Garen Shantz. Now, guys, let's settle the debate. Who had the better career, Dirk or D. Wade?
Garen, you go ahead and go first.
Dirk Nowitzki definitely had the better career. I know y'all both are going to disagree with me, but listen to this right here. Let me just ramble off right here. 41-21-1. That's kind of all I have to say right there. Number 41, 21 seasons with the same team. Loyalty right there. Had Rick Carlisle coaching him the entire time. 20.7 points per game, 7.5 rebounds per game, 2.4 assists throughout his entire career. 14-time All-Star, 2011 NBA champion and MVP, 12-time All-NBA, and sixth all-time leading scorer in NBA history. Like I said, obviously one team, 15 playoff appearances, 31,560 career points, dropping the pin.
First off, we didn't have to show the Manu and one highlight that we just rolled. Whoever the editor is. I have a question. Is the 41, 21, and 1, does the 1 stand for 1 ring?
Huh. Okay, so you want to bring rings into this. You want to bring.
does.
Let's
It
mention right
does.
here
It
that
does
it took
happen.
Dwayne Wade he had to have Shaquille O'Neal to
was
win the
trash
2006 finals. And wait, who did the Mavericks have? I believe it was only Dirk Nowitzki. And
prime
back
Dirk
in
Nowitzki,
back in 2011, it took LeBron James and Dwayne Wade to get to the finals.
Dirk
And
had,
Dirk Nowitzki handled it himself.
Dirk had Jason Kidd, Jason Terry. He had
he had a good
he had a pretty solid team with
And-
them.
but
And
you're-
Shaq was not in his prime.
Shaq
in
was
2006. Shaq was at the end of his career.
Chunky Shaq.
You mentioned 41-21-1. Dwayne Wade has 4 consecutive NBA Finals appearances, 3 championships.
He
In
needed
fact,
a super
just
team to do it.
Listen to this. Wade, 22 points per game. Dirk, 21 points per game. Wade, 5.4 assists per game. Dirk, 2.4 assists per game. Wade, 48% field goal percentage. Dirk, 47% field goal percentage.
ahead on 'em.
They're close, but Dwayne Wade had a better career than Dirk Nowitzki.
You want to talk stats right here? Then let's talk some playoffs.
He
stats.
played 21 seasons. Of course, they're going to have more career points.
25.3 points per game in the playoffs. Dwayne Wade, 22.3. Dirk Nowitzki in the playoffs, 10 rebounds per game. Dwayne Wade,
He's also 7 feet tall.
5.2.
He's 7 feet tall.
He's 7 feet
Assists,
tall.
well, then why do
He's
we? Then
way
what's
more
the debate?
healthy.
Honestly, what kind of big guys could shoot like Dirk Nowitzki?
We're not
could?
saying he's not a great player. We're not trying to discount Dirk as a player, his accomplishments. We're just saying, first of all, Dwayne Wade's shorter, which by definition means it's harder to score the ball, just straight up. And what that also means he has more injuries because he is much more athletic. He's played less games. So if you look at Dirk's raw stats, yeah, they might be better. He might have more of, for example, points, rebounds, blocks. He might have more than that because he's played more games. And to address your point that he needed a super team, that's kind of how it's always been, right, in the NBA? Most of the time you need 2 to 3 all-stars.
Last year, the Dallas Mavericks.
There are always anomalies. The Detroit Pistons in 2004, the Mavericks in 2011. There are anomalies. That's a thing. But if you look at NBA history, you always need 2, 3, sometimes 3, depending on the era, but usually 2 all-stars to win the NBA championship or to compete for a championship. And yeah, he had LeBron. He had Chris Bosh. He had a pretty good supporting cast, Shane Battier, and the rest of those guys. Dirk had equally, I would say, a pretty good supporting cast too. He had Sean Marion. I don't know if he was hurt or not at the time, but he had him on there. He had in 2006. He had a good.
We're struggling with the.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out. I'm trying to figure out.
Exactly.
Who's there.
My point. That is my point right there.
And I don't know the Madison record at the time.
It's been so long. Okay, so.
But Dirk should have recruited his friends from Germany to form a super team.
But Dirk still ended
Too
up.
late.
Dirk's,
Too late.
I mean, you can kind of say he could have been a part of a super team because the Mavs might eventually have one of their own with Luka and Kristaps and maybe another player. I don't know who it'll be.
I would love to
kinda
see
left
that.
out.
Which, okay, so both had amazing careers. It's kind of tilted either way. Both went out very different ways. Dwayne Wade kind of announced it. He wanted to be celebrated. Dirk didn't announce it until the final game. Did you guys have a preference on which way you preferred more?
Can I take this one?
Sure.
I've kind of taken everyone. I know. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Okay, so Dirk Nowitzki, he didn't want the attention. He didn't want to distract the team, and he didn't want to make it all about himself. Yet he's the person that's meant more to the city and might mean the most to the city, other than Michael Jordan with Chicago, maybe LeBron James out there in Cleveland. But when you think Dwayne Wade, he is asking rookies second-round rookies, guys that hardly even play, hey, come trade jerseys with me.
That's not true.
Hey, I want you to make a video. I want you to make a video tribute of me, with me in it,
team.
and with people thanking me for all the stuff that I've done.
Really quick, we're running out of time. I want to get this question in, though. Both had famous celebrities. Dirk had Charles Barkley, a couple other guys come. I think Larry Bird was there.
Scottie Pippen.
Scottie Pippen was there. Dwayne Wade, meanwhile, had the 03 draft class, Chris Paul, Carmelo,
friends,
LeBron.
yeah.
Who had cooler friends come to their
Banana
final
Boat.
game? What is Banana Boat?
Chris Paul.
Oh, I'm not cool.
Carmelo.
Okay, so you have 03.
LeBron.
Brian, who do you have?
I'm actually going to go old school. I'm going to go with
school?
Dirk on this one. I really like
respect
I
that.
like the speeches that Barkley, Bird, and Pippen all had. That was great.
All right, Gary, real quick, one word. Who you got?
I agree with Bront right there.
Old school? Well, I think my farewell tour this season has been better than both of their farewell tours. That's all the time we have for today, though. Thanks for everybody for coming on the show. That's right. I have one more show, though.
Walk off.
Walk off, yeah. Playoff softball game tomorrow night. Follow us on YouTube at ntTV Sports for past episodes and future live streams. Don't forget, our 1-hour season finale is coming up next week. We'll see you then.